Russian Foreign Minister Sergei Lavrov says the lack of direct criticism of Russia during the G20 summit over its military offensive in Ukraine is very important, arguing that it should be given the same attention as all conflicts that exist in the world. Speaking at the end of the two-day summit in New Delhi, Lavrov credited the global south for the fact that the deep divisions over Russia's 18-month-old invasion of its neighbor were papered over without directly blaming Moscow. Russian President Vladimir Putin was forced to avoid the summit, fearing political opposition and the risk of arrest on war crime charges. Kyiv's foreign ministry denounced the G20 statement as nothing to be proud of. But a top White House official said Washington was happy with the outcome.
Additionally, would Russia consider using India's UPI system?
Now joining me on the news to discuss this development is Ambrosse Igboke, an international affairs analyst. Thank you so much for your time, Ambrosse.
Thank you for having me.
All right, let's get straight to it. Now, the G20 summit is a convergence of world powers discussing and finding solutions to global issues. Do you consider it a statement from the Kremlin to such a diplomatic gathering, or it had no choice for fear of Putin's possible arrest?
Well, I think why Putin did not come, it does not say that it is because of arrest. Let's not fool ourselves. You cannot arrest the president of Russia, be it in a war crime, be it whether he has an ICC verdict on him or not. And the same America that is pushing, celebrating ICC's warrant of arrest is not even a member of that convention. That is why ICC cannot issue judgment for any American warrant for any American president, because America is not a part of the ICC. Putin not coming is basically maybe to de-escalate tensions in the G20 summit that's going on, so that I think they can focus more on economic matters that brought them there, and not interfering in some political wars that is going on in Europe. Basically, you know that the G20 is not just about Europe. It's not just about the global West or global South or global North. It is a conglomeration of people from different parts of the world. And the reason for the G20 is for foster economic growth among the member nations. So when you start bringing issues about Russia and the rest and Ukraine war, it's adding more politics and economics to it. So that is why members of the G20 strongly did not mention tactically, refused to mention Russia and Ukraine war. They refused to condemn the war outrightly. They just made a vague statement about countries that should not interfere in territorial integrity of another country, and those kind of very general statements. So I think it was a disappointment for those who were pushing for strong condemnation of what Russia is doing in Ukraine. So it is more like a win for Russia, because I don't agree with Emmanuel Macron that it was a consensus. There's no consensus among the members of the G20 concerning that war in Russia. Some of them are staunch allies of Russia, like even India, and it's a very strong ally. And Russia has made some inroads in recent times into Africa as well. So it is not it's not a victory for any party.
Okay. I just want to ask as follow-up to what you said. Macron admitted that excluding anybody from the club was counterproductive. Does this suggest that the absence of Russia from the summit and contributions to the group is being felt? And also, just a follow-up question to that. The French president also defended the diplomatic and economic restrictions placed on Russia, describing it as good in the face of grave and serious aftermaths of the Ukraine invasion. In your opinion, are there true justifications for the sanctions handed down to Russia?
The issue that I don't agree that Russia was not there. Russia was represented in that G20 summit, even though the head of state was not there. But he sent a representative of Russia. So Lavrov represented Russia in that meeting. So it would not be nice to say Russia was not there. Russia was there. Then coming to the sanctions, those sanctions were very swift, were very massive. For example, removing Russia from the international switching economic currency switching protocol switch and SWIFT, and some other sanctions are blockade of their gas. Europe is the biggest customer for Russian gas from that being sold from Gazprom, which is the national oil and gas company of Russia. So that we hit hard there also, and Russia depended in a lot on Europe to sell their products also, and that has been affected. So it's biting Russia. The sanctions are biting Russia, but again, the sanctions are also biting Europe. The sanctions may not have affected the United States of America. They're safe up north there. But there in Europe, the sanction is really biting them hard. Remember last winter, we are entering into another winter now, but last winter, we can vividly remember how, Europe was panicked, because there was no gas to power the heaters for the winter. They had to buy from America, from the United States, which sold the gas 3 times above what Russia was selling. Some countries like Germany had to reactivate their coal electricity, coal generating plants to get electricity, which would set back, of course, the carbon emission, zero carbon emission that they want to set it back for so many years. Okay. So it's not a win-win for anybody. It is a catastrophe on both sides. And the earlier they come to the table to discuss these issues and end the war, the better for all sides. This ego trip that they took in all person making statements are all parts of the propaganda of war.
All right. Thank you so much for your time, Ambrose.
Thank you for having me.